It's the Brad and John Show.
Brad and John Show for Wednesday, Hump Day. That was Shelley's favorite day of the week. Wednesday, Hump Day, June 25th. John, you had me go in A block. You know, I love the way you make fun of me. You know, I really do. It makes my day.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay. I'm going to try to move forward with what's left of Brad's top three because of the three stories in B block, which is what we're doing right now. John does his A block top three. I do a B block top three, and John did two of them. So maybe I'll do a little juxtaposition on the fly here. Okay, but what do we do first? Ladies, come on in.
It's time for Brad's top three.
It is. And you know what, ladies? One more time. I want to hear you sing it one more time.
It's time for Brad's top.
It is. Okay, and in the third place,
It's number three.
it is the New York mayor election. Have you looked at this, John? Have you kept track of what's going on in New York yesterday with the election up there?
Yeah, only at arm's length. I did see a riveting video by the old lesbian bat that was on Sex and the City. The redhead one was endorsing one of the candidates or the other, and it was so revolting to see her fake smile that I just X'd out of it.
Thanks, John, for your unbiased opinion there. Okay, first off, they do ranked choice voting. If you know the controversy in New York City, there's going to be a new mayor. One of the guys who's come out of nowhere he's an immigrant. I can't remember what country he's from, but his name is Zoran Mamamdi, Zoran Mamdani. Now, he was up against Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York. By the way, can I just, quick aside?
Yeah, please do.
I about drove off the road yesterday and fell out of my car listening to the news because Kathy Hochul had a press conference where she was talking about the fact that what are they going to do in New York, the land of all the environmentalists? For the first time in like 30 years in the entire United States, they're going to build a nuclear power plant. John, did you hear this?
No, I didn't hear. Boy, that's surprising.
Yes, no kidding. Like I said, I drove off the road and thinking to myself, okay, a Democrat bragging about they're going to build a nuclear power plant in New York? Anyway, this guy, Mayor Zoran Mamdani, he was up against Andrew Cuomo, who was disgraced from office because he got a little bit close with some of the people he shouldn't have gotten close with in his office. The guy is just ultra left-wing, okay? And what's going to be interesting about it is he is a full-blown socialist communist, already talking about rent freezes and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, matter of fact, I think that Governor DeSantis from Florida is probably going, oh, great. Here come another bunch of millionaires and billionaires coming to Florida because...
Yeah, fleeing the People's Republic of New York now.
Right, because one of the things he wants to do is essentially put new taxes in. He wants to tax the rich, yada, yada, yada. Now, here's what I don't understand, John. I'll never understand this ranked choice voting, okay? He came in number one, and this is the primary, and it's they don't have separate ballots. There's not a Republican ballot and a Democratic ballot like we have here in the state of Missouri for the primaries. He came in first place, and Cuomo came in second place, but the story I read said they're not exactly sure who he'll be running against because they have to go through the second, or the what is it? I just said
the third place ballots?
Well, but if he comes in first and Cuomo comes in second, isn't that who is going to be the two in the general?
No, I think that, for example, if there was a candidate that got a significant number of second place votes and then got a few first place votes, in theory, they could end up in the runoff. And that's, Brad, exactly what you're saying is that you're looking at a guy, Brad, you're according to your kayfabe birthday, you're at least 90 years old. And I've been here for almost 5 decades. I can't explain ranked choice voting to you.
And to the point where I read this article, I think to myself, okay, he got the most votes Zoran did, and Cuomo got number 2. Aren't those two guys on the ballot for the general? Oh, no, it doesn't work that way. I don't understand it. Why? You know, a long time ago, I had a boss got mad at me when I was doing something, and quite honestly, he was right. He said to me, and I've never heard this before. He says, KISS. I looked at him. I
Keep
go,
it simple,
yeah,
stupid.
I looked at him. I go, what? I go, the rock group? No, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And isn't that the voting system we have right now? The person that gets the most votes wins. And in this case, if you have a traditional, like in Missouri, where you have two parties and you have a Republican primary and you have a Democratic primary, whoever wins the Repub primary and whoever wins the Dem primary, they go at it in general. How simple is that? Get what I'm saying, John?
I do, but I think if you were a communist or an actual socialist in New York, you would say that our party as socialists and communists does not have the institutional strength, and we've been discriminated against. So we can't compete against the modern Democratic Party. So let our candidates enjoy a ranked choice system where we might not come in first or second, but enough people would be sympathetic to our argument that we could get some third place and second place votes and then make it to a runoff and give the people a choice.
Doesn't make any sense.
You have to say it in a progressive socialist voice too.
Well, no, if you say it in a progressive socialist, you do the vocal fry and every.
Oh yeah, except for Brad. Have you seen pictures of AOC speaking to New York communists lately?
What, she doing the vocal fry thing?
No, she looks really good. She's put on some weight. Like the speculation, an online speculation, is that she's pregnant. And I think she looks really good. Like she's got some meat on her. She's got a little softness. You know how sometimes, well, your lady friends haven't had a cycle in decades, but you know how like sometimes depending on where a woman is with, where the moon is, she might be carrying a little water and you tell her she looks great. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so bloated. But all the important stuff is swollen up. Like AOC looks that way 30 days a month.
Okay, John, thanks for that review. Okay, we need to move along quickly.
It's number 3.
Yes, we do. Number 3. No, hold it. Hold on. You got me all flabbergasted here. You know what?
I know. When you talk about AOC's water weight, I get that way too.
You get me all quackenbushed. Hold on.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
Yeah, Brad's number 2, which it was
It's time for Brad's number
sports
2.
betting downside, but I'm going to change it on the fly, John. How about this for being kind of guy who can do the infield?
I'm the kind of guy. Go ahead, Brad.
The infield shift, even though it's against the rules anymore.
Yeah, I love it. Go ahead.
Okay. During the Biden administration, they changed all the names of the bases because they were named after Confederate generals. And I said back then, when they were changing all these bases, I thought to myself, Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, that's going to be changed.
Yeah, it's going to be the Larry Blackmon from Cameo Air Force
They
Base.
never touched that one. And it's not Whitman, because I said this to somebody else, and they go, it's not Whiteman, it's Whitman. No, it's Whiteman, Whiteman, Whiteman Air Force Base.
Why's it got to be white?
Right. So why didn't Biden touch that one? Why, John? Why didn't he touch that one? Why
Now,
did
do you have an answer for this, or are you asking for my opinion?
I don't. I'm asking for your opinion because, honest to God, when they went through this base changing thing with all the names, I thought to myself, Whiteman's not going to be Whiteman anymore because we can't have in Missouri, we can't have a base called Whiteman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I don't know. I think Sam Graves might have had something to do with it. I think Sam Graves probably worked out a deal with Biden that said that every plane that was manufactured had to pay an annual registration fee of $10,000.
I don't know. Okay, I don't understand.
And that's where
that.
he got the idea for the car tax.
Yes. Right. And Adam Schnelting said you can't drive 110 miles an hour in the left lane. If he's behind you doing 120, he's going to throw you in jail. Okay, time for number 1.
And now, big finish, Brad's number 1.
I love that intro, John. You have got to be so jealous of the fact that my intros for Brad's top 3, even though you have Casey Kasem doing yours, the renowned disc jockey and the host of American Top 40 for decades, I think my intros outshine yours just a tad.
Your theme song is head and shoulders the best work you've ever done.
Okay, number 1, St. Louis Sheriff Andrew Bailey. Or St. Louis Sheriff and Andrew Bailey. I'm reading my notes here incorrectly. John, I kid about the fact that Andrew Bailey has an office at the Odyssey Studios in downtown St. Louis, home of Camo X and 97.1.
Yeah, and by the way, he was on Annie Fry's show yesterday.
What?
And you can find a link to that today at johncombus.com.
What? He was on.
I know
He
you're
was-
surprised by that.
He was-
He didn't do Reardon and Cox yesterday, so Annie Fry was up in the rotation.
Okay, first off, this sheriff of the city of St. Louis, let's be honest, he's sort of a nutbag. Wouldn't you say that, John?
Yeah, I don't know him. I do know from the stories that he apparently is friends with an alderman named Rasheen Aldridge. I guess Rasheen Aldridge has known him a long time. We mentioned Rasheen yesterday. He's a guy. He used to be a state rep. He's got a lot going for him because he's gay, he's handicapped, and he's black. So he's above any kind of criticism.
So what was your point with him? Is he?
But he's friends with this Montgomery. I think is friends with Rasheen, and Rashid is a pretty colorful. I think he's an out communist. He's appeared in a lot of Communist Party USA promotional videos and such. So I mean, I think the Communist Party affiliation probably says something about Rasheen.
Is he defending him then? Is he saying he's a great sheriff?
Yeah. So if you look in the stories that I've linked to today, Rasheen says, okay, I'm not crazy about some of the stuff that Alfred has done, but there's certainly no need for AG Andrew Bailey to get involved in this.
Well, what's the saying? You get what you elect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, what I always say on this show, Brad, is that the people get the government they deserve.
Right.
So
Exactly.
when you're in St. Louis City and you choose to live in St. Louis City, these are the kind of people that are going to represent you.
I mean, the thing's just bizarre. I mean, and first off, let's be honest. If you have in your rural counties, the sheriff office in a lot of rural counties is the law enforcement agency of the county. And it used to be that way in St. Charles County. It hasn't been. Matter of fact, I remember the beginning of the year, I went to the 10-year anniversary of the St. Charles County Police Force. And I actually had a couple of people say, well, did St. Charles County not have police up until 2015? No. What they had was they had a sheriff's office, which essentially did the duties of law enforcement, and they switched over to a police force. It's complicated, and most of your counties, you have both a sheriff and a police force. And you have a sheriff who is the head dude, and he has sheriff's deputies, and then you have police chief who is head of the police department. It's complicated, but in most of the counties, like in St. Louis County, St. Charles County, the sheriff's office is responsible for the jail and essentially service things where if you get sued and the sheriff comes and subpoenas you, whatever, serves you with papers, that's what the sheriff's office does. Correct, John?
I believe you're right, yeah.
And in the city, once again, we have the city police department, who was responsible for law enforcement, and then we have the sheriff's office, who essentially runs the jail and essentially, I believe they also supply, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they supply the bailiffs to the court. Isn't that? I know that is this way it is in St. Charles County, that they have the sheriff's office supplies the bailiffs to the court.
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Okay. So they're not necessarily law enforcement, although they do have all the powers of law enforcement. They carry a gun. They have arrest capabilities. They have everything, but they don't have the same job description as police officer. Okay. This guy has just been wackadoodle from the start. He buys himself a new SUV. He does this, he does that, and supposedly one of the things, he gets into a little tussle with one of his sheriff's deputies, a female, and he gets mad at her and puts her in handcuffs. Have you heard this bizarre, weird story?
I have, yeah. It was pretty hot.
You're going like, what is going on down there? But so here's Andrew Bailey getting on his white horse and galloping up 54 and then east on 70 into downtown St. Louis. Oh, he's going to save the day. Here he comes to save the day. I'm like, okay, enough.
But hold on. Replacing Kim Gardner with Gabe Gore, I don't think anybody would say that was a downgrade. I think everybody would agree that was an upgrade, right?
Well, the problem is, if you take things literally, you have someone elect, and let's use our president, for example, okay? We have a president in his first term got impeached twice, okay? And essentially he beat it twice. He's back in for a second term, delayed by 4 years, and guess what? They're trying to impeach him again. Let the system work. And I know what is it, pro quanto warranto or something like that. What is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Something
it's
like
one
that.
of Bailey's favorite terms.
Right, he uses it all the time. It is like, isn't it like pro quanto warranto or something like that?
I don't. I won't do it justice. Pardon the expression by saying it. Yeah,
But see, if I were Andrew Bailey, instead of riding in my white horse from Whiteman Air Force Base, by the way, that's where they keep all the white horses, I would just stay in Jefferson City and say, hey, you people in City of St. Louis, boy, that St. Charles County's looking good. That Franklin County's looking good. Boy, that Jefferson County's looking good. Boy, even Illinois is looking good. You can go right across the river in St. Clair County, move to Fairview Heights, or a little bit south, move to Columbia or Dupo, or a little bit to the north. You can go into Edwardsville or Collinsville or places like that. Alton, very nice. That's how I would treat it, and people would go.
Let me push back, though, Brad. I know we only have very limited time before you call Bill Eigel for C Block on June 25th, 2025. But, Brad, I don't want Andrew Bailey convincing city residents to move anywhere. I think if you've chosen to live in the city, I think you should stay there. I don't want city residents moving to West St. Louis County. I presume most people in St. Charles County don't want an infestation of city residents into their area. So folks in the city should stay there, and they should deal with the government they have. And if they want to get rid of Montgomery, get rid of them.
John, I have a debate with you. I will debate you on that, because listening to St. Louis Public Radio like I do, by the way, they should be called SL. You said it the other day by mistake, and that should be the true
St. Louis Public Media is what I called them yesterday, accidentally.
They should be St. Louis Public Media, because they got 34 reporters, and only 31 of them ever show up on the air or the radio stations. Just be St. Louis Public Media. Okay. They're running promos because they're saying, you need to help us, send us money. And they have actualities. We call that the news business. In other words, little bites of people saying, I'm so-and-so. And on every one of the promo, they rotate them. All the people are from the city. All the people are from, I'm Mary Smith. I live in the Shaw neighborhood. I'm Bill Jones. I live in the Central West End. I'm Rasheen Aldridge, and I live in North City. See, they don't need a big transmitter. They could just get a little 10-watt transmitter, stick it on top of one of the buildings in downtown St. Louis, and you know what? They could cut their expenses way down, and things would be good.
I think that plan's already in place by KDHX, Brett.
Yeah, all right.
Wait a minute. I said the forbidden phrase. Brett, I think we need to go to break because you need to call Bill Eigel and annoy him.